All right, guys, thanks for coming back to Middle Class Reactions. Sorry I've been away for a little bit. Haven't uploaded a video in about a week. The last 2 weeks, my work's just been completely insane, so I had to take a little hiatus to deal with some work stuff, but should be back and resuming regular uploads. Today we're looking at Joy Reid. She has surfaced on Piers Morgan. The first time I've actually seen this lady on any big show in a while. Um, Props to her for going to Piers Morgan. I'll give her props out of the hat. Props to her for going to Piers Morgan. That's probably the only prop she's going to get in this video. This lady's retarded and insane. But we're going to take a look at what she's saying. This is the most racist woman probably on any kind of podcast right now that has any sort of relevance. Like, people actually know her name kind of thing. So yeah, we're going to take a look at what this insane lady is saying.
We've never met, I don't think. We've never spoken to each other. I think we've locked horns a little bit on social media in the past. I think I'm blocked by you on X. I can't remember what crime I committed, but probably Trump-related. Just first of all, what Barack Obama has said and what Chris Cuomo said there, has that given you pause for thought about what the Democrats should now do? Because it's all very well just shrieking constantly about how evil Trump is, but it clearly hasn't worked now twice. You know, the fact that the guy went away for 4 years and then came back and won again was an utter repudiation of the tactics to be him, wasn't it?
Well, first of all, I'll say I have not blocked you on X Twitter because I haven't been on X Twitter since Elon Musk acquired it. I actually left the platform, so there might be someone posing as me who's blocked you. So
I think it was prior to Elon's purchase.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, so this is an interesting conversation because there is no one who is more obsessed with racial identity politics than Donald Trump. He ran the most racial identity politics laden campaign that I've seen in my lifetime. And I've been following politics since I was 12.
Okay, this is what I mean when I say this lady's retarded. Like, either she is so caught up in her own mind that she honestly believes that, or she's truly retarded. I don't know which one it is. I don't know which one. Like, Kash Patel, Dan Bongino, the vice president's wife, a lot of the rest of the Trump cabinet, very much not white. A lot of the high ups in his cabinet, not white. I'm not a Trump guy right now. I've been bashing Trump. Go back and look at the last few videos I've been doing. I'm not a Trump guy. Like, I am not at all defending Trump here. But you can't say certain things about the guy. He's not racist. Like, you can't say that about him. That's just not true. And that's when she says stuff like that, that's when normal people like me, even when I'm upset with Trump at the moment, it's like, okay, like, you're making me defend Trump here. Because he's not racist. Don't be retarded, lady. Come on.
The point of his campaign was, if I was to sum it up, that immigrants, whom he identified as gang members from Venezuela, as people from S-hole countries, as essentially any non-white migrant or immigrant in the country, were vermin who were poisoning the blood of our country.
Well, he was talking about criminal, illegal immigrants. He was talking. Well, hang on. He was talking. You can't misquote him off the top. This is my point, though. This is my point. I remember. Let me just say something, Joy. I remember when he won in 2016. I was at the New York Knicks the next day with my eldest son, and Chris Rock was there at the next table. And we got talking. I said, "Why do you think Trump won?" And he said, "You know why?" He said, "If someone's murdered 8 people, stop going around saying he's murdered 9." And he didn't mean Trump had actually murdered anyone. What he meant was, there's plenty to criticize Trump about. I've done it myself many times. But there's also a lot of stuff that resonates with people. And I think it's the over-exaggeration, the over-demonization of Trump is part of the problem. And your characterization of his depiction of immigrants, you said the word immigrants. Actually, what he was talking about repeatedly on his stump in his rallies was specifically illegal immigrants who come in illegally, who are criminals, who are already convicted criminals, who've come into America across the southern border in huge numbers, who are criminals. He wasn't talking about non-criminal immigrants, as you tried to put it there. So there is a difference.
False. No, first of all, it's absolutely false. Let's talk about, for one example, the Haitian immigrants in Ohio. Mm-hmm. These are people who were in the country on a legitimate visa, who were actually improving that community by taking jobs desperately, where people desperately needed to hire and did not have any, enough American-born employees, and they were hiring these folks. They were taking badly needed jobs. They were improving the community economically. He accused them of eating people's cats and dogs. He characterized them as if they were animals.
Okay, so that's one of the Trump statements I wish he wouldn't have said. They're eating the cats and the dogs. Like, okay. Was there some truth to that? Yes. There's a few reports of some pets getting stolen and presumably have been. But were they doing that like on mass scale to pets? No. Now, I will say there's a lot of pictures and videos coming out of that area showing them snatching the geese and ducks and stuff from the local park, but different conversation. Also, they came in by the CBP1 app. Legal at the time, yes. Kinda. It's a gray area. But were they on like legal visas? Not really. They used an app that was usually used, I believe, for cargo ships boarding coming into port. I'm pretty sure. Pretty sure it's what that app was used for. But it was used for something to that nature. And then the Biden administration overtook it for immigrants. So let's clear that up. And have not all immigrants as a whole, but some of them act kind of like animals. Like, you've seen these. My dad would attest to this. He's a truck driver, and I can attest to this as well. So, where I work, we have trucks coming in every day that I have to let in gates. Some of those immigrant truck drivers, man, act kind of like animals. Just the reality of it. Not all cultures are the same. Not all cultures are equal. That doesn't equate to a race. That equates to a culture. Not all cultures are equal.
These are people who his own administration had allowed into the country on a legitimate visa.
And but I agree with you.
First of all, I'll stop. Let me just.
But I agree with you.
So his all-encompassing term about immigrants being vermin and poisoning the blood of the country was all-encompassing because it included them. And in his mind, it included anyone who he said came from an S-hole country, meaning if you came from Nigeria, if you came from the Gabon, if you came from any country in Africa, And
this is another one. Like, yeah, those are shithole countries. Have you seen them? Have you seen any of the countries in Africa? They live in huts. Like, they still do rituals where they eat each other and behead each other for the fun of it. Have you seen what's going on in the Congo? I mean, like, yeah, they're shitty countries. I mean, it's what it is. Like, why is that, like, forbidden to say? Why is it forbidden to say, like, hey, if that's the culture they want to have, we don't want that here? No. I do not want America to look like the Congo. No. It's not a bad thing to say.
In a blanketed way, depicted immigrants, again, with Nazi terminology, vermin.
Well, let's leave Nazis out of it. You know what? Whenever people...
Okay, and we're now like 5 minutes in, not including the intro, and she's already saying he's using Nazi terminology. Nazism that doesn't exist can't own a word. Vermin. They can't own a word. It's not a thing. I swear this woman is retarded.
Wait, let me
finish my thought. Joy, whenever you think it's taken you what? It's taken you 4 minutes and you've called him a Nazi already. Come on.
And now what we're seeing are masked federal agents sweeping up cooks, abuelas, people who work on farms, picking up dishwashers, any brown person. And Tom Homan said, based on one criteria being their appearance, it's overwhelmingly brown and some black people. We're not seeing them sweeping up white folks on the street. Donald Trump ran a racial identity campaign.
Well, if you'd use your stupid ass brain for a minute, and I'm sorry if like, for my mom who's going to watch this, I'm sorry, get a little heated, but it's like, yeah, they're not sweeping up white people because you don't have floods of whites coming over the border illegally. Dude, use your damn brain. Like, this is the kind of thing that just drives me over a wall. It's like, she says something like that, like, oh, well, they're not sweeping up whites, so it's got to be racist. Who's coming over the border? They don't look like me. Let's just be real. Are there some white people, like probably Russians and Ukrainians, I would imagine, like the area I live in, a lot of Russians and Ukrainians. Are some of them coming over illegal? I'm sure. And if they are here illegally, grab them, snatch them up, don't care. It's like you don't see floods of white people flooding over the border. It's just not a thing. Doesn't happen. What do you see? See floods of Mexicans, Chinese, different variations of black people. It's like that's what you see. Different variations of Asian people, South Americans, Guatemalans. It's like that's what you see coming over. They're brown. That's what it is. Like why are we beating around that bush? If there were tens of millions of Russians, Ukrainians, and Irish people and Finnish people coming over the border, that's who you'd see getting swept up. That's who you would see. So it's like, use your damn brain for a minute. Wrong button.
Campaign. And yeah, this is America. That is appealing to, unfortunately, a lot of Americans.
Well, actually, it turned out to be very appealing to Latino Americans who voted for him in record numbers. More Latinos voted for him than voted for Kamala Harris, the non-white candidate. More Black Americans, African Americans voted for Trump this time round than first time round. So for
Not true. Statistically, it was the same. The same number of Black Republicans voted for him that always
more Black Americans voted for.
Is that so, Joy? It just so happens the Pew Research Center did a study on this. So say, Black voters also moved to Trump, but remained overwhelmingly Democrat. Trump nearly doubled his support among Black voters between 2020 and 2024. 8% voted for him in 2020 versus 15% last year. Still 83% voted Black, or voted for Harris. So do the Democrats still own the black vote? 100%. Did Trump nearly double his Black vote? Yes. Does that sound like, oh, the same numbers voted for him this time as last time? No.
For Trump
Google
this time and last time.
It was the same. And by the way, this is the other challenge. There is a phenomenon, and my family are immigrants, and there is a phenomenon among immigrants of slamming the door behind themselves. And by the way, more Latinas, women in the Latino community voted for Harris. But there is a phenomenon. If you talk to people who actually are in the community and study this and spend a lot of time on it, journalists who studied it, there are a lot of Latinos who want so badly to identify with Americanness that they identify against fellow immigrants. That is not.
You mean the people who came here illegally to America want to protect what America stands for? Crazy thought. Wild thought that the people who come here illegally don't want to change America. They want people to change to be an American. It's almost like when you say America is the melting pot of the world, the part in that phrase you're forgetting is that the melting pot. You melt into the civilization that you're coming into. You leave the culture you're coming from, and you become an American. This lady pisses me off more than she should.
A new thing.
No, but maybe they weren't identifying. Maybe they weren't identifying. But Joy,
that's not new.
Maybe they were just
blackness. And maybe
let me respond to that.
The Latino community is not new. It's
let me respond to that.
Exists.
Maybe they were just.
Okay, so I guess what did I just hear her? I know I didn't hear what I just heard. I know I didn't.
To identify with Americanness, that they identify against fellow immigrants. That is not a new thing.
No, but maybe they weren't identifying. Maybe they weren't identifying. But Joy,
that's not new.
Maybe they were just
blackness. And
let me respond to that.
The Latino community is not new.
Okay, so I thought immigrants were just mostly brown and some black sprinkled in there. Now you're saying that because the immigrants came over and don't want illegal immigrants coming here, they're anti-black? Is that what we're saying? Now, I will say the one counterpoint she does have, I worked around a whole lot of blacks and a whole lot of Mexicans, especially when I was back in the South doing metal fabrication. Those two groups really don't like each other that much. Not to say that you can't get blacks and Mexicans to get along, of course you can. But as a culture, I've seen it more times than not where them two they don't play nice together all the time. I don't know why. Well, I think I know why, but I don't know for sure. Those two tend not to vibe well.
respond to that. Maybe they were just sick and tired of people like you, and I say this respectfully, but people like you constantly calling Trump a Nazi. Maybe they thought it was ridiculous to compare.
Don't call people vermin and say they're poisoning the blood of our country. That's Nazi terminology.
It's not Nazi terminology when you're running the country. We have more immigrants now, and what's better? What's better about America now than it was in the 80s, 90s? Not one thing. Literally nothing.
Use it.
You have repeatedly, over the last few years, called Trump a Nazi. Now, the Nazis were the most despicable, awful human beings we've seen in 1,000 years. They murdered 12 million people, 6 million Jews in the Holocaust. Trump is not a Nazi. So when you do that, you thought it. Let me finish.
You've just done what you normally do. I have said he uses Nazi terminology, and that's a fact.
Right.
Saying people are poisoning the blood of our country, that is Nazi talk. That is what I've said about Trump. I will stand by it, because if you're calling people vermin and saying that they're poisoning the blood of our country, you are lifting language out of the Nazi playbook. That is very different from saying that Donald Trump is perpetrating a Holocaust such as in the 1930s.
Right.
But what he is doing is straight fascism. That's not me saying it. Mark Milley, his former Joint Chiefs of Staff chair, said that he is a fascist to the core. His former Chief of Staff.
Let's not forget Mark Milley also committed treason by saying that he would let China know if Trump wanted to make any acts, military or not, against China. That's treason. So let's not forget who Mark Milley is.
Staff says he's a fascist, and the things he's doing, masked men snatching people off the street, not even showing any identification as law enforcement.
Let me ask you a question.
Men dragging women,
Let me ask you a question.
Children into vans, fascism.
You've made this point.
I will stand by that any day.
Okay, the one part of here I will sort of, not with anything fascism wise, I have seen a lot of videos of ICE and CBP and unmarked cars and unmarked clothes. They're plainclothes guys with plate carriers. That's where you got to be careful, mainly for officer safety, because like if I was driving in a car and a random car pulls up in front of me and 3 masked dudes get out, someone's getting shot. Like, that's just what it is. So I'm not going to know who they are. I'm not a fan of unmarked cars. I'm okay with. I'm not a fan of unmarked officers. It should be marked. Like when you get out of the car, it's like, you should be very well marked. Because if not, like I said, an unmarked car cuts me off, and then somebody with no visible thing saying they're police gets out, and they're masked, and they start running up to my car, and they pull a gun, someone's getting shot. Might be me, might be them. Someone's getting shot. So that's the one part I'm not a fan of. But enforcing laws isn't fascism. I mean, it's not. And I say again, she's retarded.
Let me ask you a question about immigration, because it's a very interesting topic at the moment, as you rightly observe. What of the fruit you eat to stay healthy is actually making you fat? So my view, for what it's worth, as somebody who is an exceptional alien, is how it's described on my visa to the United States, but I have a home in Los Angeles, and I love America. I've lived and worked there for 20 years. My view is that most Americans, I think instinctively, do not have a problem with the principle of deporting undocumented workers who commit crimes in the United States. Would you have a problem with that as a policy?
As a policy, if people get a hearing and they go through a process, sure. But that is not what's happening.
No, I'm going to come to the next bit.
Hold on.
And here's where me being in the position I am, being been blue collar for a long time. Now I'm a manager, but I still make crazy money. I make less than $30 an hour. It's like I'm not making crazy money. I'm not some big hotshot, not some big YouTuber. I work a 9 to 5 like everybody else. I manage a few employees, about 30. I work around a lot of hospitals. I'm not going to say what network because some of y'all be crazy, but I work around a lot of hospitals. An illegal immigrant in Washington State has better, they have better healthcare than I do. They can come in, no questions asked, get whatever medical treatment they need. They can get any surgery they need. They can get, if they're a psych patient, they can get any psychiatric treatment they need. If they're suicidal, they can get any help with that. No, they don't have to pay for a single dime, but all taxpayer funded. I go to the doctor, even with insurance. That is expensive, man. more expensive. My insurance rates are higher because illegal immigrants are here getting taxpayer funded. So someone's got to pay for it. Well, that's why you have guys like me who are like, yeah, I don't care. If you're a dishwasher, you're here legally, get out, go. Like, I don't care. Washington State's a great example of this. Vehicle insurance prices are higher because there's so many illegal immigrants here. They get in a wreck, and you get hit by an illegal immigrant. They don't have insurance. Your insurance has to cover it. So guess whose premium's going up? Yours. And it's like, yeah, I don't care. I'm not for an illegal immigrant getting more benefits than I do as an American. No. Like, and until that's fixed, you're going to have a lot of people like me who are like, yeah, you know what? Sucks you've been here for 20 years and didn't take any of that time to go get your citizenship. Sucks. Get out. Okay.
No, Joy, I'm going to finish my point. I wanted to see what you were prepared to agree with me about, because I think it's healthy to the debate, right? So we both agree about that, which is good. Now, I don't think that they should have pressed the button on deporting as many illegal immigrants who are there undocumented, but who've not committed crimes in the way that they're currently doing. That they should have sorted, first of all, people who are in the country illegally who commit crimes and deported them. Everyone would agree with it. But I agree with you. The wholesale pulling of people off the street who may have been in America for many years, got families in America who pay taxes in America. You only have to talk to farmers.
Okay, on that point there, and this is where I'm going to end, because they're in agreement here, and if they keep going back and forth, I'm going to keep getting pissed off. So this is going to be my last point on this. If an illegal immigrant's paying taxes here, that means he has an illegal social security number, which means he committed identity theft. So it's a federal crime. If I did that, I'd be put in prison. They do that, and it's like, no big deal. That's what I'm saying. You lose guys like me who maybe would be more sympathetic on the immigration side if we were taken care of. But Americans aren't taken care of right now. We have homeless veterans. Americans aren't taken care of. I can't afford a house. I can't hardly afford gas. It's like, so until Americans are taken care of here, I don't care about an immigrant, man. Not my problem. It's not Americans' problem to help everybody. Help Americans first, and then if there's anything after that, if there's stuff left over we can do to help, cool, we'll help. But until then, no. And I don't think it's bad to say that. Look out for your own first. I don't think it's bad to say that. So that's where we're going to leave it on this one. I'll probably do this debate into a few videos, just because this she's insane. Joy Reid is, I think, actually retarded. But that's where I'm going to leave this one. Thanks for tuning in. Again, regular uploads now 2 to 3 times a week. Getting back on schedule. So thanks for tuning in. Like, share, subscribe. Do all the stuff you need to. I'll catch y'all later.